Welcome, everybody. Uh, Thanks for joining me so late. It is a very late night. Uh, I've I am going to bring somebody on panel. There's somebody else I wanted to bring on panel too. I realized that I left before I could get their email address, but if they show up in chat, I'm going to share the link in the chat. There he is. Um, if you don't mind sharing your email address, because I'd rather email you the StreamYard link, Hillbilly Lives Matter, and bring you up. But I think it's only fair. So, or I'll just share it in the chat, and then I'll just only let you up. So, but yeah, you had a very interesting question for Zanime, and she wasn't there to answer it. You asked me to answer that question, and I think the only way is to, the best way is to let her answer it, and I think you were very respectful in doing so. So, um, but as a lot of you guys know, and I've got Zanime backstage. Zanime, I'm not forgetting about you, but I want to say a couple things before I bring you up. Um, this whole thing has gotten completely out of control. It's gotten completely out of hand, and there are innocent people who are being accused of crazy things, um, and I I'm just kind of tired of it, if I'm being honest. Um, I'm not, I'm not a fan of Upchurch, but I'm also like, I don't have anything directly against him personally or anything like that. The issue is that what he's doing is very, very bad, and I don't mind calling him out, and I don't even mind insulting him in the process. Um, those of you who know me know that I don't mind doing that, and I will continue to do it. But it's the reason why I call him out on what he does is because he's victimizing people and lies are being spread. And one thing that I won't stand for are veterans being dragged and being lied about. Uh, I may or may not. Um, you put it in the private. Okay, there we go. No, uh, I may or may not agree with everything, but one thing I'm not going to do is allow anybody who has served our country, especially if they're immigrants and they came here. And my impression of Zanime is that she came to this country because she wanted to be here, and the way that she chose to show gratitude for that was to serve it in a way that many of us, most of us in this chat, have not. Uh, I wish I had when I was younger. I wish I was a more responsible person. I wish I had taken that route when I was younger. If I could join the military now, I would. That's the truth. Um, but I won't have veterans disrespected. And I don't think that this person was actually at least intentionally disrespecting a veteran. But he had a question and he asked me, and I wasn't qualified to answer that question. And he asked me that about Zanime, and even less was I qualified to answer that question. So I wanted to give him the opportunity to ask her directly. So but I'm not seeing him. You know what I'll do? And I'm only going to let this one person on, but I'm going to share the link. In the chat just to make it easy. Chili Peanuts, welcome. So the link is in the chat. I'm not opening up some big panel. I don't do that, man. Just so you guys know, I just don't do that. So this one person is welcome in this chat, and that's it. Zanime, welcome. I don't have any sound for you.
It's okay.
There you go. Okay, now I can hear you. Okay.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
It's been quite a journey, but you were in a gray shirt. I'm wearing a gray shirt. It might be a conspiracy.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, we're totally in on it together.
Oh no.
Insane. And it's so late, so like I'm very not in the mood for bullshit. So
Yeah, me neither.
yeah, I never go live this late, and we were just in and I really like his channel. I was just on the panel with Psychobabble. Psychobabble is the person who initially debunked the whole car having to be in gear or in neutral to have gone in the water or whatever in the whole thing. And he's a Ryan Upchurch fan, admittedly, but he suffered some loss and somebody took a jab at him and he ended his live, and I don't blame him because he got very emotional. I don't blame him for doing that. So I decided, because we had an unfinished issue to go over, I decided to go ahead and go live just to get this out of the way. And here is Hillbilly Lives Matter, and he has a question for you, Zanime.
So I just want to say before I ask my questions here, I do admire the courage it took to go take your family and go through the bureaucracy of the U.S. government, because the U.S. government is a pain in the ass. Now being out of the way, there were some questions I had on your military photos that were posted on the ABC documentary, and then some that have popped up around you. I'm sure you posted, people have been reposting. So you are in the National Guard.
You're breaking up a lot.
Fact
Is
right,
there a
so
way that you can get a better, could you get better reception somewhere where you're at? Maybe.
Is that better?
It is so far, yeah.
Okay. So I just, in case you didn't hear my first part, I wanted to say I really do admire the courage it takes to go get your family from Romania and then to deal with the bureaucracy of the U.S. government, because I know quite a few people in the military that had a hard time even getting their citizenship approved while they were in basic training. So kudos to you, and I hope all that is working out in your favor. But I do want to ask some questions because there was some stuff on the uniform that was posted that was interesting to me. But I just want to verify you were in the you are or were in the National Guard, correct?
I am still currently in National Guard, and I have 1 year left until I retire.
Okay. How long were you in, if you don't mind me asking?
I've been in National Guard since 2014, and I was on active duty since 2002. My apologies, since 2003 and until 2014. So the deployment patch that you were talking about earlier on the other panel, I was
Yeah.
watching it. The deployment patch is from JBLM, which is Fort Lewis, previous Fort Lewis in Washington State. And this is my first deployment patch to Iraq. And then after that, I went to Afghanistan in 2000. Oh my goodness, it's been so long.
So
Yeah,
you've actually
2013.
you've actually seen combat, Janet.
Yes,
Wow.
twice.
So 2 tours.
2 tours, Iraq and Afghanistan.
Wow.
Okay.
So the patch that you're talking about, the Indian head, it is from 4-2 Infantry Brigade, Stryker Brigade, and we were the last Stryker Brigade to leave Iraq in 2010.
Oh wow, that's amazing. This is sort of my last question because you pretty much answered my main question. But so you saw combat. Is there a reason why they didn't give you a CAB or well, I'm guessing you were in infantry, so a CAB, combat action badge?
I'm not commenting on that because it's very personal.
Okay, that's fine. I just that pretty much answered my question. I do want to say, hope everything goes well with your transition into the civilian world. I know a lot of people that have been having a rough time with that. Yeah, it pretty much answered all my questions.
Well,
Hillbilly,
can I ask you something? Hillbillies Lives Matter.
Of course, absolutely.
Are you a veteran? Have you served in the military?
Yes, I'm currently active duty.
Okay.
I'm not going to
Thank
say.
you for your service.
Yes.
Thank you for yours, Xanaman. I think a lot of people
And what
owe you an
branch?
apology. I'm actually Army as well.
Okay.
Nice.
But I'm 25th. I'll say my division because there's 2 areas that 25th is in. Yeah, I do want to say thank you for your service. I think a lot of people owe you an apology now based off of that because accusing somebody, as you know, Zanime, accusing somebody of stolen valor when they're not stolen valor is one of the biggest insults you can do to a military
Thank
member.
you. Thank you for saying that because it is one of the biggest insults that you can do for actually a person who served a lot of years as well.
I really do wish you well in your transition because, again, as I said, it's not an easy transition out of that. I really do hope the best, pray for the best for you. As someone whose family came over and fought in many different wars, including the Revolutionary, I'd like to welcome you as as an American and hope your family enjoys America as much as you and I'm imagining you do because you fought for it. So
I've been in America for way over 20 years. I've been a US citizen since 2003 and military for 19 years.
well, before I close out here, I do want to say thank you for your service, Anime.
And thank you
And
for yours.
anyone that did say she was stolen valor, I hope this proves to y'all that she is what she says she is. She cleared up any details that really could have been questioned. Thank you for your service. I hope you have a good rest of your time in the United States if you decide to stay, because the United States is getting a little rough. And I wish you the best in health and all that. So, peace out.
I want to go ahead and say, and give you a lot of respect, Hillbilly Lives Matter, because this is obviously something that was on your mind, and then you asked on that panel, but you did it very respectfully, and you took a lot of criticism very respectfully for asking the question when you did. I don't want that to go unacknowledged. So
I do want
thank
to
you
say
for
this
that.
too. I think a lot of people need to start being a little more respectful with the conversations. You don't
Yeah.
like obviously have thick skin on some things. Like if a fact is a fact, it's a fact. But there's no reason to pull people's families into things, and there's no reason to like if someone verifies and proves that they are what they say they are, there's no reason to go at that person in that way. Like the shit that happened while I was on live with Babel, that shit was there's really no need for that. There's better ways to have these conversations. It is kind of disgusting. It's a huge problem that the United States as a whole is facing. And I think a lot of people need to get out of their emotions and realize the business side of things and the life side of things. And I think a lot of people are having a problem separating their heart from their sleeve, as they say. But
Well, I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think a lot of the big issue right now is that, which has been my gripe from the start, is this is an emotional issue no matter how you cut it. When you talk about true crime cases, there's always a victim. There's always a victim, there's always a perpetrator. Sometimes the focus is always on the perpetrator. Sometimes there is no perpetrator to name, but there's always a victim. Always, 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 no matter what. There's always a victim in these crime cases. We may not know who the perpetrator is, but we have to keep in mind who the victims are and try to be empathetic as far as what they may or may not be going through. And if we're looking at these crime cases and we're not thinking of them first, then we have a serious problem.
yeah,
This has become a genre, and it's
well,
not a genre.
there's
It's an issue. It's an
there's
issue in this country. It's an issue
about
in this world.
people just I think a lot of people just do not know how to be tactful with things anymore. And again, this sounds like a broken record saying this because everyone's going to always go, "Oh, it's education. Oh, it's this." I really do think it just comes down to people not really being taught manners anymore, and where the line is of, okay, here's where I drop the tactful attitude and bulldog it. And I think that's something that people need to start considering is where's the line where I drop the tactfulness and why am I not starting out in a tactful way? So with Ryan, look, I'll still admit it. I'm still a fan of Ryan. I think a lot of his music is good. His skits are funny, but I think when it comes to a lot of these cases and other incidents, he'll do this thing where he'll go straight to the bulldogging before trying to approach it tactfully, and that in and of itself causes a lot more problems than solving them. Which again, also take into consideration it is YouTube, so drama gets views.
But it doesn't, you know what I mean? That's the problem is I live in a place in my head where I'm naive, and I have been for 4 years, where I'm just hoping to see YouTube gain some, because there are YouTubers out there that cover true crime cases, and they do it for the right reasons, and they're respectful, and it's not fair to them that they don't get, because a lot of them make really good points, and a lot of them actually uncover a lot of good things and make really responsible speculations, and they're not taken seriously just because they're not, mainstream media. I'm not one of those people. I'm not trying to put myself with those. But there are true crime creators that I respect that are doing this. And yes, Gray Hughes is one of those three boys' mom. And I'd like to see them be taken seriously by the public and not looked at as clowns and just idiots with a YouTube channel, and the reason why that's happening is because there are other YouTubers
I think
who make something this serious become some sort of mockery and a joke. And then you got this Ryan Upchurch character who comes along, and he's although he's talented and he's a musician, whatever, he just saw some way to be able to. I don't know what his motives were. I honestly don't.
I think what's going to happen,
but he's giving all YouTubers who are trying to do something good a bad name, and actually trying to get justice and trying to get closure for these families. He's giving them all a bad name. And
I really do think what's going to end up happening here, this is from what I'm seeing with Ryan before. So, for example, with the Johnny Gobble situation, it was a nonstop attack on that guy. Now, after, I want to say 4 or 5 months after the attacks have been done on him, and they got over whatever they got over, I think Ryan just gets too passionate about some things, and he'll get this like, I want to call it like a tunnel vision, kind of, which again,
and that's what's really ironic. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like,
yeah.
I like that he's passionate. I'm hoping that this little part of me, that's what's really weird, is like I make all these videos about him and I point out all this shit about him, but I'm hoping that he's actually passionate. It's just that he's directing his passion in this really fucked up way, and it's victimizing people, and it's not okay, but if he directed that passion and used his influence in such a in a responsible manner, he could do a lot of good. But I'm starting to believe that he's just not even mentally capable of it.
So what I'm hoping is going to happen, this is like a small part of me, but again, anything can happen. I'm hoping when this whole Kylie Rodney situation phase or problem kind of just dies down a little bit, that he's going to sit there and reflect on everything that was said and done, whether it be to individual YouTubers that were also had their hearts in the right place, but then also partook in drama too. Because I think there were a lot of YouTubers on both sides of this that were using this as a way to get drama and views instead of just solving the case. And I think you'll see that's probably with every community ever.
But see, it's not our place to solve the case. You know what I mean? It's just not. We're not investigators. We're not professionals. Me personally, I look at the information that's made available to me, and then I give my opinion on it. But I'm always disclaiming, like, I'm not an investigator. I don't know. I'm a layman. I didn't go to school for 4 years to study criminal behavior. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'd like to see YouTubers do that same thing, and I feel like they would get more, respect in that same way. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
No, it does. It absolutely does. And for example, for me, I came into the true crime community completely ignorant. Like I didn't, like you just saying that, I didn't know that's how y'all did things in the community here, because I found out about the community through Ryan, and it doesn't matter who I'm watching or what I'm doing. I always try to keep like an open mind to things, because it's very easy to follow somebody that you really like and just go, oh, he's right, he's right, he's right.
Right.
But for me, because I work with people that are yes men, I work with people that have that kind of mentality of I'm just a straight follower. And for the military, that's sometimes good, but it's also bad. The interesting thing with that is as Babel brought up, there's the people that are going to sit there and go, I'm just loyal to Ryan no matter what he says or does. I'm going to follow. And then you have the fans like Babel and myself that'll sit there and go, well, I don't agree with this, but I agree with this. Or I agree with that, but I don't agree with that. And I think that's the problem is most of his most of his followers won't sit there and question, well, was Ryan right the way he went about this? Or was Ryan right about this specific
And I think that's what he needs. I think he needs more fans like you and more fans like Psycho Babel who really believe in his music. You know, like I'm not a fan of his music. I'm not saying that I don't like his music. I'm saying I'm not a fan of his music because I'm not familiar with it. I don't, you know what I mean? It's just not. It's not my genre. It's not something that I get into. But I know what it's like to really be in love with with music, with a certain music. I know what that's like. You know, I think we all can relate to that. And
one thing that got me with Ryan was he wasn't like, for me it was, here's a guy that's setting a new path for people outside of going to a record company that is going to sit there and say, oh, your money's mine, and you're not.
oh no, and I totally admire him for that. I respect bands that do that. Like I'm a Fugazi fan. See, I'm old school. Like Fugazi totally invented the whole DIY thing. You know what I mean? Like those guys like took construction paper, like they took a record album cover and they opened it very carefully, unglued it, you know what I mean, and got a stencil of it and made construction paper when they printed their own records to make their own record covers, and then sold the records out of the trunk of their car. And now those guys are doing their own thing, and they're easily one of the most influential alternative rock bands of all time.
I think Ryan's biggest problem, like you said too, is he has a inner circle of people he trusts, which is normal for someone that's up on his level, because you can't just go around trusting everybody because it's going to fuck with your mind. And I think he does do that to an extent, but he has people that are going to tell him what he wants to hear instead of what he needs to hear. So, like,
and I wonder what would happen though. What would happen if all of his fan base like finally was like, dude, what are you doing right now? You know, and started to question him. Like, would he lash out at them? You know what I mean? Like, is his ego so big, or would he like listen to his fan base and go, okay, shit, you know?
That's a very good question.
I hate missing super chats, even though this is not what this is about right now. Wolf Girl, thank you both for your service, because this is directed to you guys, by the way. Both for your service. Was from 212. Great productive conversation here. Will, hats off to you, sir. No, hats off to you guys. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you for all of your support. I'm not talking about that conversation that you guys had going on. There's a question in the chat that about purple hair in the military. Yes, okay. Purple hair in the military is not allowed whatsoever because it's unnatural color. And
they did change the regulations on some of that, though.
Not the purple. Purple hair
not the
is
purple.
not.
You can get highlights, though, I think now.
But you can dye it, right? Like,
yeah, you can dye. You can dye it. I had blonde hair for as long as I remember myself. I did went black one time, and that was just a weird phase. Let me explain about the purple hair. As women know, we can change our appearances for like chameleons. Sometimes, makeup or permanent or temporary color in your hair for certain events or for certain things. So my purple hair is temporarily. It's something that just washes off once in a while. Obviously, you can see I don't have purple hair right now.
Oh, okay. So it's not a permanent hair dye. It's
no.
Just, okay. Makes sense.
No, It's
Like,
just
yeah, so
it's
so you
just
get
chill.
you
It's
get a
just drive
weekend
us.
leave. You get a
That's
weekend
the
leave
other
and
thing
you're
I
like,
didn't know.
woo, I'm
So
dyeing my
someone
hair
else,
purple for fun, and then you can wash it out
it
and
was
go
funny
back into
because
active
Psycho
duty.
Babel actually brought that up because I think he thought I was going to make that argument about the purple hair. And the only reason I didn't do that is because Zanime could have been on leave, and when you're on leave, like, you can really do whatever. As long as when you come back, you're back in that professional appearance, back on
Yeah,
duty.
so with the military regulations, as long as you're on base, you have to keep your military appearance. Also, when you are in your home setting, you can have your painted nails, anything you want to do because it's within your home. But when you're on a military base or in the uniform, you have to maintain a military appearance.
Yep. And they did relax a lot of
That's
those
pretty
regulations as
simple
well.
answer that nobody seemed to have thought of.
Well, you can look it up too,
This
but some
whole
people,
time, nobody thought of that, which is really funny to me. Sorry, including myself.
yeah,
It's kind of mind blowing.
Because we're still human beings. We take off the uniform,
Yeah,
and while I have a civilian job, I'm just a National Guard right now. I'm the
yeah.
weekend
It's not
warrior.
like you got a neck tattoo. It's like,
I do want to bring attention to this because I think it's something that's very important that a lot of people don't realize. So a lot of people that get out of the military again have a hard time adapting, and
Very true.
you can do things to assist the veterans, whether it be helping out at your local VFW, helping them find a job, or just helping them feel like they fit in. Because I think a lot of the times that our brothers and sisters out there, they end up killing themselves, and it's at an unfortunate rate. I know a lot of people don't know that. It was at 22 a day, but it actually went up since COVID. So we have 25 brothers and sisters killing themselves every day. So since Claire, you have this platform, I thought I'd just bring that up. So if you
no, I'm
guys
glad you did.
are willing to do that, go out of your way, thanking a veteran for their service member, like for a veteran for
Absolutely.
their service, like goes a long way. Sometimes we'll be like dicks about it, but it really does go a long way. Like,
Yeah, it does.
there's a
And
lot of that.
let me
Hmm.
address this because all of Ryan's fans are welcome in my chat. They always have been. I don't block them. This person hashtagging Creek Squad, go back and tell Ryan what you're hearing tonight. Learn something and go back and tell him. And I'm not saying that to be taking jabs at him or anything like that, but what he's been doing is very, very disrespectful to a lot of people and very dangerous. And so I'm hoping that people that follow Ryan Upchurch have enough guts and enough convictions in their own beliefs to call them out and say, hey, I mean, if you're a parent, God forbid your kid goes missing. You know what I mean? Uh, and somebody behaves the way that Ryan has towards that situation. God forbid. I don't want that to happen to any of you and your family. I don't want that to happen. You guys should hold a better standard for your idols. I'm not ashamed to say that. You should hold a better standard for your idols. If you idolize somebody who is going to disrespect families and say that somebody's not real, you know, um,
Yeah.
somebody's child isn't real, that's crazy, and then you support it because why? Because he wrote a song you like, performed it in a way that you like. That's sad. What does that say about you?
Anyway, that's the. You also made a really good point of when you take off the uniform, you're still a person. I think a lot of people fail to realize that because whether we want to believe it or not, if you're in the military, you get put up on a pedestal of this is how I believe you should act because society has and Hollywood has put us in this like I hate to say it, but like godly like state that we can do no wrong. We're the toughest of the tough. We're this, that, and the third. Which
right, you're the standard that people all have to live up to.
yeah, and
Right.
I've met some really dumb people in the military. I've met some really smart people in the military. I've met some of my best friends in the military, and I've met some people that I'll hate for the rest of my life in the military, because it's literally it's a melting pot of just all kinds of different personalities and people, and I
It
think that is
is. You're absolutely right. It's a melting pot from all kinds of walks of life, all kinds of nationalities, and you have a lot of higher education, and you have no education, and then the military was able to provide a different platform to either help them out. So it became like sisterhood and a brotherhood. Sometimes when you cling on to all of like cling on to all of this, and it's hard to disengage from just wearing a uniform and wearing a civilian clothes, because you became one. Especially when you're on active duty. I had a really hard time when I get out of active duty, to, oh my god, I don't have to go to 6:30 PT in the morning, physical training in the morning. I didn't have to do any of this stuff. I need to find a civilian job. I need to actually pay for my own housing.
that's
And it was,
all about me.
yeah, it was something, a lot of the stuff that I didn't get to experience while I was on active duty. And it was a learning curve. I went in a little bit sadness, and I had my own struggles. But we have a really good support system. There are so many veterans out there that actually want to reach out. There are a lot of veteran groups. Each town, each city has a very good veteran support system, as long as you just reach out. And that's why that is what's wrong, because there's not a lot of advertisement for it. There's not a lot of people who actually want to reach out to that. And unfortunately, we tend to lose people to a lot of sorry. I got a little bit emotional over here. But yes, it takes courage. And even though you are being put on a pedestal, but there's a lot of stuff that military personnel have to endure, through the basic training, through everything. And it takes a really strong person to actually say, like, yes, I can do this. I am becoming stronger, because I have learned the English language in the military. I have learned, well, majority of the English language. It provided me education. It gave me a lot of opportunities that I could not have been able to do it myself. Well, at the time. And by somebody calling you a stolen valor for everything that you have worked to, for everything that you have been to, it's it's very heartbreaking. And I don't think that anyone should ever go through anything like this before.
There were arguments being made against you that I do want to say these arguments disgusted me, because it showed me that people aren't really doing their research. So they were going and saying that because you were Ukrainian, there was no way you could have been in the U.S. military. And I want to say that's absolute bullshit,
Yeah.
because one of my best friends, right? He full on African, came from Africa. Um, still had the African accent to it. He could speak Pidgin. He Which, for those who don't know what Pidgin is, it's like a mix of English and whatever foreign language you're used to. I didn't even know. I learned that from him. I didn't even know that was a thing. Um, he got his green card, because you can get what you do is you get your green card, and then you sign up, and through your military service, which I think is the most honorable way you can get your citizenship, you get your citizenship.
Oh,
Because
that's clearly, I mean,
Yes,
I guess it's a matter
yes.
of opinion, but in my opinion, that is the hands down the most honorable way that you can get your citizenship. Like, what better way in theory, like, than to be willing to fight for the country that you're trying to join and be a part of? You know, that's amazing.
And then
Yeah.
the other
That's
thing,
why Zanime has my respect in that regard.
the other
Thank
thing I wanted
you.
to say is Zanime deployed, I think she said, to Iraq and Afghanistan. So to not only call someone that's still in valor that maybe never deployed, but to call someone that deployed and like sweat, and I don't know if you ever got injured, and you don't have to say if you were, but gone to these fucking hellholes to fight for a country that she might have not even had her citizenship yet for, that says a lot about that person.
I agree.
And to sit there and go, oh, they're still in valor. Like, for me, right, at first I was sort of on the train because I didn't get a chance to fully get to know you or even like get to ask you these questions, and I'm glad we got to clear this up. Is very disgusting to me to sit there and go, oh, your 2 deployments don't mean shit. That's really what they're saying, and it's fucked up. It really is.
You know, sometimes you cannot see all ones. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
So sorry, it's very, very late, and I didn't plan on going
Yeah.
live tonight, but
It's fine.
I still have to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I got pizza tomorrow.
yeah, this isn't going to go much more than an hour if I can help it. Most definitely. But
Got someone asking what year you were in Iraq.
It was 2009, 2010. Operation Iraqi Freedom. Oh, wait, I have my deployment cup.
Yeah, we can totally read that. But no, I think both you guys, it was really, really great because in theory, bringing you guys together, because when I was on that panel on Psychobabbles panel, and you asked me that question, the first thing that I thought was just like, well, what do you want me to say? How can I answer that? I've never served in the military. I wish I had, but I've never served in the military. I can't answer that properly. And you yourself have served in the military, but you directed that question towards me, and your question was in the form of, do you defend Zanime? And my answer was yes. I don't know her personally. I don't vouch for her personally, no offense. But I don't know her. All I know is what I've seen happen, and I watched it unfold. She was on this one dude's panel, and it seemed like they were getting along fine, and then Upchurch got on that same panel, and then dude just totally turned on her, and then she felt attacked because she was being accused of something outrageous, and then all of a sudden now she is she's the focus in some weird way of being part of a crime that we don't even know took place, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, okay, let me play devil's advocate here. Let's make things a little interesting, since I'm up and, so Zanime, where were you exactly when when she went missing?
You mean kayaking? Where was I actually kayaking at? Or
where were you when Kylie went missing?
I was at home.
Okay.
Drinking my whiskey. I'm sorry. Like
What?
I am.
Sorry to
Wait.
cut you. There's a comment that I guess missed most of this. This is the last time I think I'm gonna answer this, and then I think they can just go back and look at the video. I'm sure it'll be uploaded. The Joshua guard said, "Isn't she National Guard?" She said she is, but she also said she served active duty with the 2nd Infantry Division, which, if you look at her uniform, that is the deployment patch that is under her. Well, it's under her flag, which you can look at on the documentary videos that were put out.
Yes, I had multiple duty stations as well during active duty time.
So what were you doing out there kayaking?
I wanted to get a mental break.
Okay.
I needed, so I love kayaking, and sometimes when I
But
needed
why
to,
there?
because it was a really calm lake, and I was going to be, my plan was already, my trip was already planned for weeks and into actually this lake because it's very calm and it's very, like, if you kayak and you listen not to just waves but to kayaking, it's very good, like relieving sounds and everything. But since I was going to be there anyways,
That's suspect
and
as fuck. I'm sorry.
I know, right?
Oh, the
So,
other dog joined.
well, since I was gonna be there anyways, all I wanted to do is just to get some footage for the community because they were looking at Google Maps and like Google Images of the area, and there's nothing. It's completely different when you actually out there and get some footage. And also, I decided to volunteer during my own time, and I signed up as a volunteer. I went to the booth and then put my name down, downloaded the app just like everybody else did to track the movements.
How did you end up on the American, whatever the fuck his name is, man? That dude's
JP
channel.
in question.
Yeah.
He
How did you
asked-
end up on Tony's channel?
That's a great question. So I woke up at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, cold, like shivering cold, and I had to run my my heater in the car. So while the car was getting heat up, I was like wide awake. I was like, oh, let me see what the nighttime community, YouTube community is doing. And this guy was live, and they were talking about the whole case, and they started talking about like why the Homeland Security is involved. And I was like, well, I wanted to put that straight because the reason Homeland Security is involved because it's multiple jurisdictions, it's a federal property, and it has to be like Cal OES has to get involved with money. So I was like, okay, well, let me jump on a panel, explain about that. So they kind of kept me on a panel, and I said, well, I'm kind of here. I'm already at the lake, and they're like, oh, how dark is it? Is it dark out there? It's like, well, let me turn the laptop on and go show you how dark it is. So everybody loved me at the panel. He texted me after that, and he's like, hey, I would like to see if you can be a co-host. And I was like, well, I don't sleep at night very much anyway, so why not? And came in as a co-host. Everybody loved me.
So
at the
he
panel as
actually
well.
invited you to be a co-host on his channel.
Yeah, I was on his channel 3 times already. 4 times.
Yeah, I know you were on there before, at least before Upchurch joined. So what was, I mean, you got to admit there's quite a coincidence as far as the Kylie Rodney thing, and then you just happening to be on there as a co-host, and you were there where she ended up disappearing. You were kayaking and had video of it. You know what I mean? Is that just plain coincidence?
It is. It is just plain coincidence.
Wow.
Blair,
So go ahead.
In question. He asked, why did you upload the video of kayaking? And then he said, when you were confronted about it, why did you delete it?
I deleted the video because that's the next day. They found out that they found a car, and I deleted the video right after that because I didn't feel it was respectful to the family to have this video up at the moment.
No, I already knew that.
Yeah, no, this
But
guy asked it. I didn't know that, so I was just curious too.
so
Oh,
he just, so you just, and I'm not saying this to attack you. I'm just like, because I've actually been curious about this myself. So he just happened to be talking about, you were already a co-host of this channel, or at least according to what he told you, that you were a co-host to his channel. And he just happened to talk about the Kylie Rodney case, and you just happened to be there in the area and kayaking when Kylie had disappeared.
So I never heard of him before that night. I literally jumped at the like in the middle of the night into his stream, and this is the first time on the 13th of August. Well, it will be the 14th, like about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I have the video as well when I'm actually like for the first time jumping on his panel. And after that, he said, "Hey, you're a great panelist. Do you mind jumping as a co-host sometimes?" And I said, "Why not?" So I got invited twice. So the first time we did a stream, like a little late night stream. I was wearing my other Doctor Who shirt. And then we did another stream another night, and I was wearing my Atomic shirt. And that's when the first time Ryan jumped in on a panel. And this is the first time when I try to bring up some questions to him. And then the very last time that I was on his stream, I was wearing my Smile It's Happening shirt. And so that was the last time.
Right.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster. It's just
No, clearly
everything.
it's obviously been a roller coaster.
It's a coincidence after coincidence, and I know it sounds a little bit different, but sometimes you just can't help the life events happening and unfolding the way they did.
Right. No, I mean, I'm of the opinion, because I've actually been to that area, and I think it's the most beautiful place on earth, to be perfectly honest, because I'm you know, I'm a proud American. I'm a patriot, and my favorite thing about America are the beautiful places in America. And to me, the most beautiful place in America is Northern California. When I was there, I was just like, oh my God, it's the most beautiful place ever. But you got to admit that it's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it's the fact that you happen to have been in that area kayaking in the same lake that her car was found when she was missing, you know, is going to raise questions when somebody is going to raise those questions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
wasn't the only one that's kayaking that area. Just kind of just FYI, just put it out
right.
there, you know.
But you were the only one on YouTube talking about the case. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
that was in that area.
No.
Okay.
There's another person that actually lives in Truckee, and he's in a canoe with his dog on the same area. The one that found the laptop.
Okay, and you didn't kill your dog, right? Like,
no, he's right here.
Where's your dog? Show us your dog.
Wait,
Show us the
right
dog
here.
that Ryan Upchurch says was buried in the, you know, or at least insinuated that was buried. Oh, look. Oh my gosh. You got a twin dog. You're a genius. You are a criminal genius.
He's like, why did you wake me up?
Oh man. Sorry. No, yeah. I mean, no, my point being, just for the people who are just like, what's the Claris saying right now?
Yeah, so there's
a lot of people kayak there, You know, it happens. Like a lot of people kayak there. You know why? Because it's pretty. It's nice.
It's absolutely wonderful. It doesn't
Right.
get so. One thing around that area, around the Tahoe Truckee area, a lot of body of waters is really cold. Like the Donner Lake is really cold. Tahoe, oh, it's even colder. Tahoe gets really choppy in kayaking, so it gets to be a little windy, a little choppy. So you don't get to relax. You kind of had to like pedal the whole time. And that lake is literally the only body of water that I have not kayaked around that area. And I heard a lot of great things. So don't be doggy.
I know. Like that's crazy that you would hear nice things about a nice body of water that would be nice to kayak peacefully. Crazy. It's insane. I
So
mean, the world is
sometimes
going nuts.
you just want to help while you're doing your own relaxation because you're just happen to be in the area.
Right. You know, because it's so private, you know, nobody would be kayaking out there, you know.
You do know their house is like right on the water too, right?
Right. No, yeah. And every time you see footage of it, like I saw your footage of it, and there were people on the shore with RVs and kayaks. Holy shit.
There were
Oh my
people.
God.
There were people not far from me. They were actually sleeping in the cars as well.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. So
I think I have a video of another person like kayaking, but she had a green kayak and she was actually heading towards that direction. No, I'm not going to show that.
so how hard was it? Let me ask you this. How hard was it to paddle with Kylie's SUV attached to your canoe to get it in the water? Like, I mean, you're military, so you must be strong. You must have like really worked hard to get that SUV out there.
You know, if it was salt water,
How much
it
do you
probably
bench?
will be easy.
I mean,
I don't bench.
you don't bench. You don't do any back.
No, I don't know. I
No?
do Peloton.
Okay. Yeah. This whole thing is really coming together.
Maybe if it was salt water, it would be like a little bit easier. You can get some floaties underneath or something. But I don't. Oh man, it was like dragging it through the ground in my tiny
No.
kayak.
Yeah.
Hazmat has a lot of strength.
So since you were in the military, what was the gamma radiation testing like so you could become the Hulk? Did that hurt or?
You know, it's kind of a funny question because I'm actually came by a red nuclear analyst in the military.
It's the super soldier serum, you know, the whole.
So that super soldier serum's already happened.
I knew it. Yeah. So obviously you're I don't want to get too deep into that because you don't want to expose too much, but are you planning on taking legal action against people who have slandered you and defamed you, made these crazy accusations against you?
I'm not going to comment on that. I'm sorry.
Good. Okay, good. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. What I really wanted to do with this was to give this gentleman who I want to thank very much, Hillbilly Lives Matter. Thank you so much for being respectful, and thank you so much for how you even asked me that question and how you were receptive to me setting this up, and having this respectful conversation with Zanime. And Zanime, thank you so much for answering all these questions, as ridiculous as mine have been, not his. I think he was actually very respectful, and I think he ended up showing you a lot of respect. So
Yeah, I do thank him as well. And I want to thank you. Thank you for everything that you do and then actually seeing through a lot of BS.
yeah, no, and I'm gonna keep doing it, and guys, make sure to subscribe to her channel because I know that you're not focused on this stuff on your channel at all, and you have a lot of things that you want to bring attention to. So if you guys want to branch out and think about things that are a bit more important than Ryan Upchurch, because they are. There
So
are things that are.
we're talking about the fire right now that's happening actually by Truckee.
Okay.
Coincidence.
Do you live right there by Truckee?
I do not. I live in the Bay Area, not far from San Francisco.
Okay. What the hell were you doing all the way by Truckee? Oh my God. No, anyway. All right, I'm done. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to Xanime's channel and check out. I mean, she's just trying to use her channel to create more awareness for the things that she is passionate about. So thank you, Xanime, for joining me and being open to answering those questions. And I'm sorry that you're always under the microscope like this, but you will get your day, I promise. So anyway, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And
thank you.
yeah, maybe we'll do this again.
Have a good night.
Good night. All right, guys, there you have it. I hope that answered some of your questions. Sorry for the late night, but you guys were up, so I'm glad you guys joined me. I hope I didn't rob you of any sleep. I love you guys very much, and we will do this again very, very soon, my friends.